Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Fur in the Fan. Just as a recount, over the last couple of weeks, we've been working on our glue laminated beams for our teardrop trailer. So we cut up all of our pretty wood, and I was thinking, since I've never done glue lamination before, I thought it might be a good idea to go ahead and try it on, say, some not so great wood. So at least I have a little bit of an acquaintance of how this whole procedure is going to work. So I'm going to do that today, and you're going to see firsthand what it's like to do a glue laminated beam on this little trailer, same time I see it. Hopefully it'll go nice and smooth. If not, well, we're going to find out and we're going to learn together. Now what I did do, because I've got my wood beams all cut, I went and I got some glue. It's extended time glue, extends all clear up to maybe 10 minutes. Hopefully a little longer than that. The weather's a little cool today. So what we're going to do now is we are going to put our table saw away. We're going to clean up the mess on the floor. Then we're going to lay our jig down on the floor. And we're going to glue up our first few pieces. Wish me luck. Here we go. So the first thing we've learned thus far is your wood cannot be old wood. I have this wood that's probably 15 years old at least. It's been sitting outside. I cut it up as in the same thickness as our other strips, and just to kind of bend it around. And the other thing is, this is not great wood. It has knots, it has holes, and pretty much my big pieces are breaking. So our test run of gluing up our first bit of glue laminating here is a failure. You can hear it cracking, and this is even in just the small or the larger radiuses too. Don't know. Yeah, I'm glad we did a little bit of a test here. So after fighting and scratching with these, we'll call it inferior wood that has the holes and the knots and whatnot, we're just going to forget that. We're going to use our good wood, which has nice bendability. What I've done is I've laid out the tightest arc, which is the back end of the trailer, and I have it blocked on that corner, and it curves, and all the pieces end about right in here. What we need to do is we don't want to have all the joints right here. So what we're going to do is there are 10 slats in that curve. We're going to cut 3 of the slats into about a third. So it'll be a third and 2/3. That way we can do a full strip, a third, and then another full strip, and then a 2/3 piece. Basically, we're trying to offset that joint. So we're going to go ahead and cut those pieces and then continue to lay this out as a dry fit to make sure it all fits first. So one thing we've learned is we've continued to go and make our bends to add our pieces in here in our dry fit. This is our tightest corner, right? When you're bending wood, even as pliable as it might be, I found out that you can't have any joints in this area here. If you have a joint, then there's no way that when this is bent that it's going to sit down flat unless you really crank on it with a clamp. So what we've opted to do is we don't have any joints from here all the way around until you get here into the more flat spot. So what we did is we did a full piece, and then we cut off 12 inches. Then we did another full piece, and then we cut off 2 feet, and then we did another full piece, and so on, so that our joint is staggered throughout this area right here. Now, as we continue around, these curves aren't as tight, So we'll go ahead and we'll have our longer pieces in here. However, I'm suspecting that as on this side, even though this side up here isn't as tight, we may have the same problem. So what we're going to do is we'll check it, and we might have to run our long pieces from the back, from the bottom here, up that way, and have our littler pieces here on the flat spot. We'll see. We'll continue to go. But that's one thing I did want to point out. You cannot have any type of a joint in your tight curbs. Well, here it is. Frame number 1 of 5. I'm excited about it. We're going to find out in just a few minutes how it turned out. I was only supposed to put 10 strips of wood on. I actually ended up doing 11. I guess after 5.5 hours, you get kind of tired, and I was in such a roll that I just went ahead and slapped another one on. It's not going to hurt it at all. If anything, it'll make it stronger. As you can see, it's got clamps, as many clamps as I could stick on it everywhere around it. We're going to find out now here, after we take off the clamps, if it is stuck to our plastic or not. Before we take it out of the mold, we want to mark where our floor is going to be attached to it and where our columns and beams are also in relation to our new glue laminated frame. So let's go ahead and get this marked real quick. So I've got just a simple triangle and a pen. We'll just mark here. The beam goes there. That's the end of the wheel well. We'll mark it. Our floor connects in right here. And I'm marking these just so when we lay our frame back down, we can adjust it slightly, but I want to get it in the exact same position as it is now, so that when we put our beams and our columns in, they will be the exact same on each side of the trailer. Okay, we have marked where all of our beams and columns and wheel wells are going to be. Now let's just go ahead and remove all of our clamps. Oh, that frame wants to come out now. I will say, for as far as clamps go in a glue up as big as this, it's nice to have these spring clamps because that way you can just clamp it up really quick, kind of get it set in its place, and then you can use the bigger C clamps to really cinch it down once everything is in place. One of our clamps get a little too much glue on it. There we go. Just release that. Okay, drum roll time. Here we go. Looks like our plastic did its job. We could have used wax. A lot of people use wax. I just didn't want to have it aftermath of wax and all the buildup on it, because I plan on keeping these forms. because I'm crazy enough to perhaps build another one of these. Now, right now, this project obviously is a restore, rebuild, keep it as original as possible and have it look that way. You know, if we were to redo it, if we were to build another one, we'd probably modernize it with all the electronics. For this one, we're just going to keep it simple. Ouch. First boo-boo, fur in the fan boo-boo. Don't rub your fingers along glue. Let's start over here. Okay, we're free from the form. Let's lift it. Right here, ladies and gentlemen, our first frame. Very excited about it. Looks to be all nice and straight. Yeah, that's going to be a nice wall. All right. Well, that's one. 4 more to go. So the next thing we need to do to our frame is to add our columns, which will go about here and one down here. And then we'll need to add our beams, which will be about here, here, and here. And our skirting and all that other stuff. But I wanted to show you this, our first frame. And even though you didn't get to see all of the glue up and that process of it, I promise I'll show you on the next ones. I had to get this one done first as a tester. But there's plenty of other frames so I can show you how, a little more detail of how I glued it up. But for now, we're going to go ahead and take it off this temporary holder and go ahead and take the pressure off of it. We don't want any pressure on it. They said for 24 hours.